freaking cool. Absolutely love this figure. And I gotta say, coming at number 5, I'm excited to go ahead and talk to you guys about. So let's go ahead and get going on it. How's it going, everybody? Tommy Star here. Thank you for clicking on this video. Well, today's video is going to be something a little bit different. My buddy Max over at Max's Movie Channel tagged me and wanted me to put this video together. So this is going to be a follow-up to his video. And if you want to see his version of this video, go over to Max's Movie Channel. I will go ahead and put his link down in the description. But what is today's video? Today's video is going to be... So I've never really done something like this before. Obviously, I've done top 10s of like all-time favorite movies and, things like that. But I've never really put a list together of, my top 5 favorite Blu Rays I can't live without. So this was a little tricky for me. But I think when it comes down to it, I think the way I put it together is going to be like... Well, I guess exactly what the title says, Blu Rays I can't live without. It's either going to be based on just not being able to live without the movie and just something special I like about the Blu-ray itself, maybe the type of Blu-ray it is or edition or something. So again, like always, these lists are so difficult to put together. So I started at a pretty high list and just kept narrowing it down. So I do have a couple of honorable mentions I got to throw up really quick. Not a lot, just like 3 honorable mentions if that's acceptable, Max. So, and one other thing too I'll mention is that I think one of the hardest things about this video is that when it comes to me, I mean, most of the stuff in my Blu-ray collection that I own that I would say I can't live without are probably a lot of my collections. In the collection, I'm sure there's, more certain individual movies in that collection that I would probably pick over the rest if I could only pick one. But because there are just a couple that I love as a collection, I wanted to include that. So as an honorable mention real quick, I got to throw my Rocky sitting here. I couldn't live without Rocky. This is all 6 movies excluding Creed. But yeah, I gotta have me Rocky. Can't live without Rocky. And this was pretty close to the top 5. Of course, Rocky, is my all-time favorite movie franchise ever. So next one here is Butterfly Effect. Butterfly Effect is my top 3 favorite movie of all time. But I wanted to include this in an honorable mention just because this fucking steelbook is sweet. I actually had ordered this internationally. We, don't have this is not a U.S. release, but it's just a sweet steelbook. You guys have seen it before. But I love the movie, but I can't live without this steelbook. This is definitely my favorite steelbook that I own. But just another honorable mention. And then the last honorable mention really quick is The Garbage Pail Kids. Why? I grew up in this movie. I always loved this movie as a kid. I rented this movie probably more than any other movie I ever rented at a video store when I was a kid. But also on top of that, this is a kick-ass edition of this movie. I never owned it on VHS, but I did end up getting it on DVD over the years. And then nothing special about the DVD, but now this, a Scream Factory edition of this film that came out, I think last year or the year before. And it's got a sweet ass slip cover on here, and the special features in this is awesome. You actually get to go back and get interviews from the cast and crew for like the first time ever. And then of course, like every other Scream Factory, here's the sleeve that goes on the inside, and there's the original artwork from the VHS in the movie poster. And that's what I'm going to say I love about this is this Blu-ray is so cool. It's a really cool edition of this movie. I know it's not the greatest movie in the world. I know it's like really cheesy and really stupid, and I think more people hate it than they like it. But it's just a movie that means a lot to me. Loved it as a kid, and I just love this edition. So this is definitely a Blu-ray I can't live without, but not in the top 5. Let's get on it. All right, enough of that shit. You know me, I'm an honorable mention kind of guy. I got to throw those in there real quick. Sorry about that. Hope that was okay, Mr. Max. But okay, let's get into my top 5 Blu-rays that I cannot live without. All right, coming in at number 5, Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The best 80s action flick ever made. This one made it into this top 5 list because this is the movie, a movie that I remember out of a few select titles that I watched a million freaking times as a kid. Just over and over and over. My dad had this recorded on VHS, and then eventually I got it on I bought it on VHS, got it on DVD, and then I recently got this Blu-ray. But I just love this movie. Schwarzenegger's best in the 80s, I think. It's such an action-packed movie, and if I'm going to narrow my Blu-rays down to just 5, I have to have like one of the best action films of all time thrown in there. This definitely made my top 10 list too of all-time favorite movies. I think number 5 is where I put this. I can't quite remember. 6, 5, something like that. But yeah, I love this movie, and I cannot live without it. And again, if I only have 5 movies to live with for the rest of my life, I gotta have comedy. Tommy Boy. I'm not really going to talk about this movie, but I know you guys, my recent video I posted was my top 10 favorite comedy films, and this reached number 2. And so my number 1 was Dumb and Dumber. So why is Dumb and Dumber not in this spot right now? Even though Dumb and Dumber is my all-time favorite comedy film, I think if I had to get rid of one, I would keep Tommy Boy because this is just more got a sentimental value to me. And it's a movie I can't live without. But I got to have a comedy film in my 5 Blu-rays, my only 5 Blu-rays that I own. So Tommy Boy, I got to have it. I love this movie. It's so funny. Such a great movie. Coming in at number 3, the greatest Batman movie, DC movie, superhero movie ever made. Batman and Robin. Yeah, right. Number 3, the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman film. I think the greatest Batman movie ever made is The Dark Knight, but if I had to pick one, I would pick this one. Why? Again, because it holds a special place in my heart. I was a big Batman fan as a kid, and I think to this day Batman is my number 1 favorite superhero. And as a kid, I've explained this story before, but just real quick, long story short, me and a good friend of mine, when I was like 7, 8 years old when this came out, wanted to go see it in the theater. His mom took us there. We got to the theater. They were sold out. Couldn't go. Never got a chance to see it. A few months later, after I had moved away, that was back in Wisconsin. We moved to Minnesota, and when this came out on VHS, I went over to that friend of mine's house for the weekend, and we got to watch this on VHS. His mom got pizza and snacks, and we had a good time. And to see a Batman movie for the first time at 7 years old, I was just blown away. You know me, I love DC, Marvel, I love superhero films, and if I could pick one, only one to keep for the rest of my life, it would have to be this one. And I keep getting a horrible glare, but yeah, it would have to be the original Batman from 1989. Coming in at number 2, just so happens to be my number 2 favorite film of all time. If you guys got a chance to watch that top 10 video I did a few months back of my top 10 favorite films of all time. Number 2, The Monster Squad. Number 1, I don't own on Blu-ray because I don't make it on Blu-ray. My number 1 favorite film of all time is The Wraith with Charlie Sheen from 1986. So that's why this didn't make it anywhere on this list because, again, like I said, I don't own it on Blu-ray. They don't make it on Blu-ray. But anyway, so we had to get Monster Squad in there because I just love this movie. My number 2 favorite film of all time. So, of course, it's going to be in this list. I cannot live without this movie. I have to watch it all the time. Every single Halloween, I watch it like 642 times. But this movie just has my childhood written all over it, everybody. And I cannot live without it. All right, before we get to my number 1 pick, I just wanted to real quick throw my son in here. He wanted to voice his opinion too on what his number 1 pick of Blu-ray he could not live without. What do you got, Dallas?
Yo, Max. My favorite Blu-ray my dad owns. Well, I love Harry Potter. I love the set that he owns. But my favorite one in the visual has got to be Home Alone number 1. I don't know why, because it's Christmas time and it's just so funny. And I think, what is the one who plays Kevin?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. He did fabulous on that.
Oh, yeah, he did. That was like one of his first big movies. And what do you think of that set I got? That's a pretty cool set, isn't it? That paint can set?
Yeah, he used to throw it to people.
Yeah, no, he does. All right, well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Adios.
All right, we've come to number 1. Okay, so now, again, this is going to be another set. And again, I don't know if that qualifies, but you know something? When I sat down and I thought about every single Blu-ray I own, every single collection that I own, this is the one item in my Blu-ray collection that just tops everything. I mean, not necessarily just like favorite movie or whatever, but it's just it's the coolest Blu-ray thing that I own. I absolutely love this, and I cannot live without this. And when I found out that this was coming out, I cannot tell you guys how excited I was. Friday the 13th, the complete collection. Over the years, they released a lot of incomplete sets because there was a big rights situation, between Paramount and New Line, and Paramount owned the rights to the first 8 movies, so they can only put out a 1 through 8 set, which never included at the time 9, 10, and 11. Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason. At that time, they didn't have the remake, but New Line took over at Jason Goes to Hell, so they could never get those as part of the set. So I had the 1 through 8 set on DVD, and then I had a 9, 10, and 11 set. And it always just pissed me off. Chucky had the same problem. And then eventually, Paramount and New Line worked out a deal where they were able to get the complete franchise in one set. And what better than Blu-ray? This set is amazing, you guys. I can't tell you, I was like a little kid when I bought this. I have a complete unboxing of this. I'll put a link of that video down below if you guys want to see this in detail. I'm sure you might have seen this before on YouTube because it's a couple years old now, but it comes with a bunch of collectible stuff in this video. It is so cool, you guys. I was like I said, a little kid in a candy store when this came out, and I remember it was at the time I bought it. I think it was around $100, and I think this has really gone up in price now. But I remember I bought it, and I really didn't have the money at the time. And I know that if you break the seal on something, you can't return it. So I was kind of sitting there and like kind of peeling at the seal and saying, if I rip this off, I can't return it. And I was thinking about returning it because, like I said, I didn't really have the money, but I eventually peeled the seal off and I couldn't return it. So yeah, definitely my favorite Blu-ray item that I own in my collection that I cannot live without. And number 6, Friday the 13th Part 6 is my favorite out of the series, and my number 1 favorite horror film of all time. So yeah, this is definitely number 1. And Max, like I said, I hope this is okay. I know it's not one movie, but it's definitely one Blu-ray item that I own that is definitely number 1. I could never live without this. All right, everybody. Well, that wraps it up. thank you so much for watching this video. And, I just want to thank Max from Max's Movie Channel for tagging me in this. I definitely had fun putting this list together. So I appreciate that, buddy. And I'm going to go ahead and put some links down below in the description of different videos, like my top 10s and things like that. Just so you guys want to get a better idea what those are. And then also that unboxing for my Friday the 13th set. So anyways, thanks everybody for watching this video. Let me know what you think of my top 5 Blu-rays I cannot live without down in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, share it around, subscribe. We will catch you guys next time. TD Healthy 2015. Go check it out.